Let's begin. Tools and practices. I want to focus on some simple embodiment practices this evening. It's all stuff that everybody knows how to do, but when you do it intentionally, it makes a big difference. And I use the word embodiment specifically because I feel like it's really important to understand the power of being embodied, being fully in your body, not just in your head, not just floating around. Continuing, to be embodied is to bring yourself into full alignment, your mental body, emotional, physical, spiritual, soul, all the above. And that is the most powerful state of being that we can create for ourselves. If we're not in that state, we're in a fragmented state to some degree, and we are also in a disempowered state. It's really hard to function, to ground yourself, to center yourself effectively and quickly when you are out of alignment. So it's not difficult, it's not complicated to bring all the parts and pieces together. So there's a couple of tools that I like to use. One of them is doing what's called a 2-minute brain dump. So you're going to write on a piece of paper or on your computer for 2 minutes, whatever is on your mind, whatever comes to mind for 2 minutes, stream of consciousness. While you're writing, be aware of breathing and feeling. Is everybody ready to begin that process? Okay. So I'm going to time this on my phone and I'll give you alerts like 1 minute, 30 seconds to go. Here we go. You're going to write for 2 minutes, dump the brain onto the paper or onto the computer. Begin. Breathe. Good breath. Anything that's on your mind that comes to your mind or your awareness, put it on the paper. You're going to hear me breathing. Let that remind you to breathe. One more minute. If nothing comes to mind, just write whatever you're experiencing. Just keep writing for the full 2 minutes. Don't think about it. Breathe. 30 seconds left. 15 seconds. 5 seconds. And take a deep breath in and stop. Good. Next little tool. It's called naming conditions. It's whatever you're feeling physically and emotionally moment to moment. We're going to start by writing it just for 30 seconds. 30 seconds. I want you to write down, I feel. And then for 30 seconds, just keep saying it to yourself. I feel. Write down whatever comes to you. Ready? Begin. 30 seconds. I feel physically or emotionally. 15 seconds. 5 seconds. Take a deep breath in and stop. Good. Now we're going to do it out loud for 30 seconds. You're muted, so you don't have to worry about anyone else hearing what you feel. I'm going to give you an example. I feel hazy. I feel funny. I feel large. I feel warm. I feel uncertain. So we're just going to name it out loud for 30 seconds. If you haven't done this before, it might be a little slow to start with. It's okay. Let's begin 30 seconds. I feel amused. I feel surprised. I feel you just keep saying it out loud. Whatever you're feeling can be physical. I feel warm. I feel tingly, emotional. I feel uncertain. I feel interested. I feel curious. 10 seconds left. I feel open. I feel receptive. I feel amused. I feel a little achy. I feel present. Take a deep breath in and stop. Okay. However that went for you, this is probably the first time that you've done this. And for most people who haven't, it feels a little awkward at first. Calling conditions is a really powerful tool for being able to identify your current state of being on several dimensions: the physical dimension, the emotional dimension, the energetic dimension, such as I feel tired, I feel wired, I feel calm, I feel balanced. We want to be able to identify whatever we are feeling and experiencing so that we can take command of those energies, so that we can direct those feelings and those energies in whatever direction that we choose. My first martial art teacher used to say, you can't hit what you can't see. And the point of that is you can't deal with something you are unaware of. So by calling conditions, you start to develop a greater awareness of what is present inside of you. And this is simple, really powerful, good tool to tune in throughout the day and just say 30 seconds or 60 seconds, I'm just going to name conditions. I feel. This is also a way to discharge, to let these feelings flow out of your body. A lot of times we'll do the simple breathing exercise, which we'll do in a moment, of breathing in, saying, I feel, I release this feeling and flow. If you're having general feelings, you get a general effect. If you can be specific with those feelings, you'll get a more targeted effect. So now we're going to do a series of 30-second breathing exercises. Before we do, I want you to just write down whatever it is that you feel right now in terms of your energy level. Let's say high, middle, low, maybe exhausted, or just waking up. Just make a note of that. Where you are emotionally in 3 words or less. I feel anxious, I feel present, I feel grounded, I feel uncertain. Okay? Now, all we're going to do is breathe naturally just by focusing on being aware of breathing for 30 seconds. And that's usually about 3 sets of 3 breaths. I'm going to time it. So here we go. Lengthen your spine, sit up, and just be aware of breathing, how it feels. Breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth, or in and out through your nose, or in and out through your mouth, however you choose. Begin. 10 seconds. Take a deep breath in and stop. Now just notice how you feel. Look at what you wrote down. See if there's any shift, any change. It's okay if there isn't, and it's okay if it's really small. Just want to develop an awareness. Now we're going to do another 30 seconds of breathing, and I want you to be aware of the quality and intensity of your focus and your concentration. Lighten it and soften it with a little gentle smile in your eyes. So I noticed that 30 seconds for me was 6 breaths. It's okay, whatever it is for you. The intention this time is to soften and lighten your focus as you breathe and observe at the end how you feel. Here we go. Begin. Soft focus in the eyes. Nice full breath. 15 seconds. One more breath. Good. Notice how you feel. If you want to make a note of any shift or change in how you feel right now, that would be helpful so you can compare that to how you felt before we began. Next breathing exercise. This is the one that I taught last week, which is you breathe in, and as you breathe in, you say to yourself, I feel. As you exhale, you say, I release this feeling and flow. Now, you can say it internally, silently, or you can say it out loud. I'm going to say it out loud just so we can be on mark here. 30 seconds. Breathe in, I feel. At the top of the breath, I release this feeling and flow, and exhale. Breathe in, I feel. I release this feeling and flow. Exhale. Again, I feel. I release this feeling and flow. One more time. I feel as I breathe in. I release this feeling and flow and stop. Again, now tune in, scan from head to toe, see how you feel. Notice if there's any shift at all. If there is, make a quick note. I'm feeling a little lighter and a little lightheaded. Good. Now we're going to put all that together and we're going to do 3 sets of 3 breaths. As you breathe in, you say, I feel, I breathe, I feel, I flow. I breathe, I feel, I flow. And we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Here we go. First breath, I feel, I breathe, I feel, I flow. One, again. I breathe, I feel, I flow. Two, again. I breathe, I feel, I flow. Three, one more set of 3. I breathe, I feel, I flow. 2. I breathe, I feel, I flow. One more time. I breathe, I feel, I flow. Good. Scan from head to toe, see how you feel. Notice any shift, any change, make a note. Now we're going to do one more. This time when you breathe in, soften. I soften my breath. I soften my body. I soften and flow. I soften my breath. I soften my body. I soften and flow. Here we go. 30 seconds. Breathe in. I soften my breath. Exhale. Breathe in. I soften my body. Breathe in. I soften and flow. One more time. I soften my breath. Again. I soften my body. One more. I soften and flow. Good. Take a slow, deep breath in, scan from head to toe, notice how you feel. Did you feel any shift or any change during those exercises? Yes or no? Maybe. I felt a little more energized, and I noticed that my tempo started to slow down. The more I softened, the slower my tempo became. Now, that may not be true for you. You may be charged at the moment. A charge is a high amount of energy in your nervous system. And that charge can be emotionally based, such as you could hold the charge of excitement, of fear, of uncertainty, of sadness, of joy or glee. A high charge in the nervous system creates a lot of energy, and it can be channeled into your practice, or it can create pressure if you're in resistance to that charge. If you're experiencing a negative charge of, let's say, fear or anxiety or overall stress, and you're holding on to it and trying to control it, you're going to experience pressure, internal pressure. And this amplifies very quickly the longer you resist it. Now, the little breathing exercises that we did acknowledge the feeling, set the feeling into motion. I release this feeling and I flow, is creating an intention of becoming soft and fluid. Soft and fluid, so that we can set the energy into motion. If we don't set it into motion, it's going to become static. It's going to build up really quickly and create that pressure and that internal stress. In the first class of Struggling Gracefully, the Spirit of Tai Chi, I talked about that waterfall image of energy flowing through the body, down, out the feet, and into the ground. Imagine roots like a tree. This is taking command, taking charge of your charge and your energy, and giving it good, orderly direction down and out through the body. This is grounding, grounding. I want to send that energy into the ground. The ground will accept whatever you send it without any judgments, any expectation. It'll absorb it and neutralize it. No problem. I don't care how charged you are. You're not going to have any effect on the ground. The ground will just neutralize it. Now, grounding. It's really important to learn how to ground and center yourself quickly and within the present moment. So grounding is just connection. I can ground to the earth. I can ground to my space. I can ground to you. If I connect to you clearly and specifically, we are grounded to each other. The thing to understand about grounding is that there is an exchange of energy. So if you're grounding with another person, you are exchanging energies. And you want to be clear as to what quality of energy you are exchanging. If I ground to my space or to the earth itself, I can send any energy down and out, no problem, no danger of infecting somebody. If I ground with you and I am charged with anger, sadness, fear, anxiety, unfortunately, you're going to get some of that charge from me to you, and vice versa. So you may experience this with some close friends or family who like to call you and dump on you. They're discharging their charge into you, you absorb it, they feel better, you feel a little worse, unless you discharge it. Now, the technique that I like to use is the waterfall technique of imagining energy flowing down with the force of gravity through the body deep into the ground. If I'm connecting with you and you're in a highly charged state and I receive some of your energy, it's okay. It's fine as long as I have that image of flowing, of keeping the energy moving down and out and breathing at the same time. I have to be aware of breathing, receiving, and channeling. I don't want to breathe, receive, and hold on to it. Now, a lot of people do that because they think that's what it means to be a good friend. Oh, give me your anxiety. I'll take it from you. And yeah, you're going to feel better, but I'm not. I'm going to have to now process your charge and your energy. And here's the thing, I can't unless I'm a really experienced alchemist. If I know how to transmute and transform that energy and keep it for myself, great. But that's a whole nother practice. That's a skill set that takes a lot of practice in order to master. So we can get into that eventually, but for now, I don't recommend that you try to hold on to other people's energies, emotional charges, even with all good intentions, that you want to make them feel better. You probably will, and they will say to you, "Gosh, it's so good to talk to you. I feel so much better." But then when you leave or hang up, you tune in and you say, I don't feel so good. If that happens, you have to ground and discharge. Send that energy into the ground. Now, just want to talk about focus a little bit because focus, your quality of focus in your eyes, will affect your ability to take charge and direct and channel the energy. It'll make grounding and centering easier or more difficult. And this is such a subtle thing. This is the inner smile technique from Taoist yoga, and it's what we employ in Tai Chi and Qigong. That I have an intentional focus in my eyes to be soft, little bright, little light in my focus as I'm breathing. Okay, so as I'm breathing in, the energy comes into my nose and it passes between my eyes. My eyes act as a filter, a filter. I want to filter the incoming breath through my gentle inner smile, bring it into my body, send it out of my body into the ground, moment to moment, breath to breath. So I want you to just be aware of the quality and intensity of your focus for just a few breaths. Look around the room. Try to lighten and brighten your focus just a little bit. And keep breathing. It's okay if it goes in and out. It usually does. Breathe. Good. Now, if you're having difficulty feeling or finding your inner smile, let's do a little test. I want you to focus on a single spot in your space and have a very narrow focus, an exclusive focus, so that you're not focusing on anything but that one spot. Are you breathing? Okay. Now, open your peripheral vision and awareness to include as much of the room as you can without changing your object of attention, that spot. Just soften and open it. Now that's going to soften your focus by at least 50 to 60% by having an inclusive focus instead of an exclusive one. Keep breathing. Now you have a wide focus. You're taking in more. Imagine looking into the eyes of someone that you love unconditionally. Keep that wide focus. Keep breathing. See their face, see their eyes. Notice how that feels. You might feel it in your chest, in your heart, in your belly. Now we're closer to a true inner smile. I like to think of the inner smile as the smile of acceptance. When I'm looking into the eyes of someone that I love, and the way that I define love is unconditional acceptance. I want to receive them unconditionally. But here's the thing. I don't have to, it doesn't have to be external. I can have that smile of acceptance for myself. And for me, this is like the real foundation of cultivating self-love, self-acceptance. No judgment, no expectation. I am giving myself the gift of that soft focus, inner smile of acceptance as I breathe. Trust me, this alone will change your state of being within 60 seconds. You will change from rigid and tense to soft and fluid just by adjusting the quality of focus in your eyes. But it's not just a physical thing, it's also intentional, emotional, energetic. It makes a big difference. So now we've got that soft focus, a deep breath. I just want to bring it now internally. We can focus and listen externally to our environment. We're going to do that just for about 15 seconds. Soften, smile, breathe, and listen to all the sounds in your space right now. Breathe. Good. And now shift it to internal. Soften, smile, breathe, and listen to what you are feeling and experiencing, and even any internal sounds of your body for about 15 seconds. Soften, smile, breathe, and listen. Take a deep breath in. Good. Now, when we focus internally, it is especially important to have that soft focus and the intention of self-acceptance. Acknowledge, accept, and allow where you are, whatever you're feeling, whatever you're experiencing, without judgment or expectation. Often when we focus internally, our focus is rigid, it's hard, it's one of concern or worry or fear. And when we focus internally, let's say that, I'm having a pain in my stomach, and I bring my focus inside with worry or with fear, my energetic immune system is going to perceive my own focus as a threat. It will, and that will create a response. My body will then begin to tighten up and armor in order to protect myself from my own internal focus. It is so, so subtle. So when you are focusing inside your body, when we get to doing the chakra meditation, we're going to focus on the chakras. You have to have that soft focus, that inner smile of self-acceptance. If you don't, if you have a hard focus, a rigid focus, it doesn't even have to be worrisome or fearful, but even a rigid focus will be perceived as an attack to some degree, and it will elicit that armoring response internally. This is so subtle, so important to understand, especially when we're doing a lot of internal meditative practices or contemplative practices. I want to have a very light focus, very gentle. Soften, smile, breathe, tune inward. Bring your focus to your heart center for just a moment and just feel what is present with that light focus. Be aware of your feet on the floor. Be aware of breathing and be aware of the space that you are currently residing in. Soften, smile, breathe, and listen through your breath, through your center, to the ground, and to your space. Breath, center, ground, and space. The four connections. Give that your full undivided attention, and you will be grounded and centered in the present space-time. That's our objective. Not too difficult. Now, we can use this like a mantra. Let's say that I am feeling anxious. I'm worried about something that's going on in the world or something that's going to happen tomorrow. I can't really do much about it. And by focusing on it, I begin to fragment. My mental body separates. I begin to create fearful scenarios in my imagination. I now react to those fearful scenarios as if they were true, and I'm starting to get stressed out. I'm getting anxious. I'm getting fearful. This is the process that we engage in all day long without realizing it. Part of a practice is to do this frequently, to check in with yourself, to notice, where is my focus? What am I focusing on? What am I reacting to? And how do I feel? Now, if I notice that I'm feeling anxious, I want to identify those objects of attention. It could be a story from the news. It could be a story I'm telling myself. It could be an old memory. It could be my to-do list. Regardless, if I do not feel in alignment, I must bring myself into alignment as quickly as possible. And so now I begin. One way to do that is I breathe, I feel, I release this feeling and flow. I want to acknowledge the feeling right now. I breathe, I feel, I flow. I'm starting to become fluid now instead of static. And a pressure cooker, I want to become a fluid channel. And I go into breath, center, ground space, into alignment. I bring my mental body, I detach my mental focus away from those objects of fearful attention. And I begin to anchor my mental body into the physical, into the breath, into the ground, and into this space. And I feel more aligned. It's so simple. 30 seconds, 1 minute. It's not difficult to do. The problem is we don't do it. I was talking to a friend of mine in Germany this morning, and he said, all I need to do is do it. Every time I do it, I feel better. But I just don't do it. And part of the reason that we don't do it is that we get distracted. We get we focus on something, and then we shift our focus to something else and blah. Now we're like, tipping through the meadow of many objects to focus and react to, and we lose the connection to the core. Bring it back, bring it down. Any comments or questions before we go to the next exercise. We okay so far? Great. Now I want to get into a simple embodiment activation. And some of you are familiar with this from my Tai Chi class. It's just brushing and patting the body, just to bring the mental body more into the physical body. I'm going to back up so that you can see me a little more clearly. So, rub your hands together, soften, smile, breathe. Very gently, with the intention of being gentle and kind, brushing your forehead side to side and breathe. The lighter the touch, the better, the more sensitive you become. Fingertips to the bridge of your nose, brush up to your hairline, breathe in, down to your chin, drop your jaw. Breathe in as you go up. Exhale down. Again. Good. Thumbs on your eyebrows, brushing out toward your temples, still breathing. Make sure your feet are flat on the floor. Thumbs on your jaw, the knuckle of your index finger underneath your cheekbones, lightly. Breathe. Index finger behind the ears, underneath the jaw to the chin. Now rubbing the ears all the way up and down till they feel a little warm. Breathe. Press your palms over your ears and circle forward. Good. Brushing over the scalp to the back of the head. Breathe. Temples to the back of the head. Back of the neck to the base of the throat. Very gently. Good breath. Be gentle, be kind with your touch. Lift your chin, brush from the chin to the chest. Drop your jaw, soften your tongue. From the center of the chest out toward the shoulder, lightly, just underneath the collarbones. Gentle and kind to yourself. Extend your right arm, palm is up, gently brush down as you exhale, turn it over, inhale up to the shoulder. One more. Now we're going to draw the fingers out, starting with the thumb, index, middle, ring, pinky, 3 times. Thumb, index, middle, ring. One more time on the exhale. Good. Other side. Palm is up. Exhale, brush down. Inhale, brush up. Fingers, starting with the thumb. Again. One more time. Good. Solar plexus along the line of the diaphragm. Soften your solar plexus, your breathing muscle. Belly button, from the center of the belly button out to the side. Just below your belly button, the dantian, side to side. And now we're going to circle the belly up and over. Good breath. Soften your focus, inner smile. Reverse. Good. Now you're going to press your wrists into your ribs slightly and roll the hands forward, stretching your wrists around the waist. Stay in contact with your body. And now make a soft fist and circle the back, the kidneys. And now with your hands in this position, you're going to brush up and down your tailbone. Breathe. Feel. Flow. With your fists again, circling the outside of your hips. Soften, smile, breathe, feel and flow down the inside of the legs as far as you can. If you can go over your feet, great. Come up the outside, roll up, breathe in. Exhale down. Inhale up one more time. Come all the way up to a sitting position. Lengthen your spine. Take 3 slow, gentle breaths. Scan from head to toe. Notice how you feel. Imagine that waterfall again, energy flowing down through the body, into the ground. Send whatever you're feeling into the flow, into the stream. Down and out. One more time. Excellent. So this is called Tui Na, brushing the body. I always start any physical practice with this because it brings my mental body more into my physical body, into my senses, feeling the whole surface of the body very gently. It's a great way to activate energy. At the same time, it brings deeper energies to the surface of the body because the skin is a respiratory organ and we can vent. And often when I'm doing this, I often feel a little hotter, a little warmer. And that's the energy coming up to be discharged out of the body. Any comments or questions on that? All right. So now I want to do a simple standing. This is a basic Qigong practice. Feet shoulder width, toes on the same line. Just start by bending your knees slightly and straightening your legs. Breathe in as you go up. Exhale down. Up and down. One more time. Now we're going to add a simple arm movement. Breathe in and bring the hands up to your heart center. Turn your palms down. Exhale, bend the knees 3 times. Breathe in. Exhale. One more time. This time, another 3 breaths. Hands come up above the head. Open and bend the knees. 1, again. 2, one more time. Keep the elbows rounded. Bend the knees on the exhale. 3, and the last set is up the side, down the center. Breathe in, straighten the legs. Exhale, down. Straighten and breathe in. Exhale. One more time. Keep the knees slightly bent. Gently shift your weight from foot to foot, keeping the knees bent and the feet flat on the floor. Breathe. Good. Come back to center. Okay, this is basic grounding practice. 3 breaths up to the heart and down, 3 up and out the top of the head, 3 from above and down through the body. You can put intention to each of those sets of 3, such as I breathe, I feel, I flow. I breathe, I feel, I flow. I breathe, I feel, I flow. I can also use it as I release this feeling into the ground gently, effortlessly. I release this feeling into the ground gently and effortlessly. I release this feeling into the ground gently and effortlessly. Another one, breathing in, soften and slow down. I breathe, I soften, I slow down, and you physically slow down your tempo. One more time. I breathe, I feel, I soften and slow down. Take a deep breath in. Notice how you feel. Bend your knees, scan from head to toe. Excellent. Now, I like to do it uh, when I need to ground myself, if I'm in a heightened state, a charged state. I find it more challenging to try and discharge sitting down, so I like to stand up. If I'm supercharged, I've got a lot of energy going on, I'm going to send that energy into the ground based on how I feel to begin with. This is discharging. grounding it. So if I'm feeling really anxious and wired and my inner tempo is fast because I'm anxious, I want to start at that tempo. So it might be, and start it again, slower, softer. You get the idea. So tempo matches your state of being. If you're really charged up, that it will not serve you to try and start slow or pretend that you're calm when you are not. You must acknowledge, accept, and allow whatever you're feeling now. That's your starting point. Take charge of the energy and direct it down and out. Another way to use this very simple form is to call conditions such as, I feel angry, ha, I feel sad, ha, I feel happy, ha. I am identifying the energy, I'm setting it into motion, and I'm directing it into the ground. This is a really effective tool and practice for emptying the body, emptying the nervous system of excess energy, toxic energy, negative energy that doesn't really serve our health and well-being. We don't want to hold that. We don't want to walk around with that all day long. We need to get it out of the body. Okay, just to recap quickly, we started with 30 seconds of breathing and just tuning in. We adjusted our focus to a soft inner smile and added, I feel, I release this feeling and flow. And this is just sitting down. We added, I breathe, I feel, I flow. And I like to work in multiples of 3. I soften my breath, I soften my body, I soften and flow. Setting a clear intention of how you are being is a very powerful way to shift your state of being versus getting busy and just doing stuff. And in that doing, you are discharging a lot of feeling. So a friend of mine was over earlier and said, I really have difficulty being still. Like when I'm still, I feel all this stuff and I don't know what to do with it, so I have to be doing something. That's okay. You can do things. You can go wash the dishes. If you're breathing, if you're softening, if you're releasing, washing the dishes becomes part of that practice. Or you can stand up and do that very simple discharge form. Or you can go for a walk. The point is to be conscious that you are taking command of your energy and you are shifting your state of being. You can do that just by sitting still and breathing and meditating, but that takes a fair amount of practice to get to that level. Really difficult to do when you're highly charged. Easier to do after you've emptied the body of some of that charge. It's easier to be calm and still when you don't have fireworks going off inside of your body and your nervous system. Listening, very powerful tool for becoming present. You can only listen in the present. You can only breathe in the present. If you find that you're fragmenting into other space-time, just focus on breathing, listening to your environment, breathing, listening to what you're feeling. Simple, simple. But again, most people won't do it. They don't do it. Um, we often don't trust that simple is effective. And in my experience, simple is not only effective, it's more powerful than some complex form of some kind. So then movement, I introduced the tuina, the brushing of the body. Great way. Now, you don't have to follow the same pattern. The goal is to connect, gently stimulate the surface of the body with the intention of being gentle and kind and breathing. And then getting on the feet, the pattern up and down 3 times, up and out 3 times, out and down 3 times. There's more to that, but that's a good place to start. And it also gets you in alignment on your feet through the force of gravity. Okay. So those are a few tools. The brain dump, again, I like to do that throughout the day. Also calling conditions. I feel. I'll do it usually in my head if I'm outside. I don't want to walk around saying, I feel weird. Everybody around me might feel weird as well.
Uh, Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I really struggle with early mornings, and it's quite a revelation to me that I can do all of this and I'm feeling very neutral and balanced and sort of,
Nice way
yeah,
to start your day.
yeah, yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And I
Right.
didn't realize the amount of charge that was there. I think
That's a
just so,
good point. Um, most people are not conscious of how much charge they're holding at any given moment because we're not taught to tune in and assess. And when you do, you realize, wow, there's a lot more going on than I'm aware of. And that's core to any um, transformational practice.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome. All right. Thank you all.